Hi children! So, nice to see you again. It's good to be back. How's your week been? Oh, sounds really interesting. Well, this week I've been back to school and it's been a little bit strange because obviously we're having to be so many distances apart and there's only certain children in certain classes and you have to go and wash your hands at certain times with your group and things. So it's very, very different. However, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. And I hope that if you're back, your week has been pretty much the same and it's not been too bad and you've got used to the new routine. If you've not gone back this week, you're going back on Monday. It will be different, but I'm sure you'll get used to it really quickly. So, what are we going to talk about this week? Well, we are going to talk about, as always, Jesus. But we're not going to talk about Jesus as a man like this, as we see him in the Bible lots of times. We're going to talk about him like this, as a child, because the Bible tells us that Jesus was born as a baby and then it seems to leap, apart from one story which we're going to talk about today, to Jesus being a man. But Jesus would have been a boy, a child, just like you guys. He would have been educated, so been taught at home by his mum till he was 6. And then his father Joseph would have taught him. He would have taught him lots of practical things, would have taught him how to be a carpenter, because Joseph was a carpenter. So Jesus would have been good with putting together wood and tables, chairs and things. But he wouldn't have worked all the time and he wouldn't have talked about Jesus or learnt, not Jesus, God. He wouldn't have learnt about God all the time. He would have played games and had fun and played with other children, just like you. Maybe he'd have played football with Joseph. Or he had brothers and sisters. Maybe he would have played football with them. Now, the story I'm going to tell you today is about Jesus in the temple when he was 12. And I'd like you to watch it and come back and I'll ask you some questions.
Jesus grew up. He became strong and filled with wisdom, and the favor of God was upon him. Every year, Jesus' parents traveled to Jerusalem for a festival. When Jesus was 12,
Come on!
they went just like every other year. But when the festival was over and Mary and Joseph were traveling back home,
Jesus? Jesus! Do you know? Nope. Uh-oh.
they realized that Jesus was not with them.
Come on!
So they returned to Jerusalem to look for him.
This his name is Jesus.
I haven't seen him.
They searched everywhere.
Jesus! Not Jesus.
Jesus.
Jesus!
After 3 days, they found him in the temple. Jesus was sitting among the religious teachers, listening to them and asking them questions.
Jesus!
Hey, Mom.
When Mary and Joseph found him, they said, "Why have you done this? We've been searching for you everywhere." But Jesus said, "Why did you look for me? Didn't you know I would be here in my Father's house?"
Huh?
But his parents didn't understand what he meant. So Jesus left with them
See you later.
Bye, Jesus.
and came back to Nazareth, where he obeyed them.
Hey.
Here you go.
And he continued to grow in wisdom and favor with God and man.
Welcome back. Wasn't that a good story? So, where did Mary, Joseph and Jesus go? That's right, they went to Jerusalem for the Passover festival. And as you saw in the video, Jesus ran off with the children, didn't he? And when they were on the way home after the festival had finished, Where was Jesus? He was lost, wasn't he? And Mary and Joseph had to go back to Jerusalem to find him. And where did they find him? That's right, they found him in the temple with the priests and the temple leaders, and he was talking with them and asking them questions. So even at the age of 12, Jesus knew that he was the Son of God and that he had a very special job to do. But as I said earlier, I don't think he would have spent every day learning about God and learning about carpentry and worrying about things, because as Jesus got older, there are 14 times in the Bible where he goes off for some peace and quiet, and he prays and just has some space away from all the crowds and the busyness of life. And as children, that's what you do when you're playing. You can learn through your play, but a lot of the time when you're playing, you're chilling out and you're relaxing from school and from home learning and from all those things. And we know that children played because they found some toys from Jesus's time. I'm going to show you some photos now for you to have a look at. So this first picture here is a picture of a wooden ram. It would have had some sort of string or cord attached to it so the child could pull it along. And it would be like a pull-along toy that toddlers have in our day, but it would have been made of wood, and that's been found in the ground in Israel. Our next photo, this one here, this looks a bit like a raccoon or something, or some sort of stripy animal. And again, this would have been a wooden pull-along toy, and this was found in the ground in Israel as well. So we know that children had toys and played. So I wonder, what it would be like if you were playing your favourite game or favourite sport maybe with Jesus. So think about your favourite sport. Mine's swimming, maybe yours is football, maybe it's tag or stuck in the mud, maybe you like hide and seek, maybe you like running or tennis or roller skating, whatever it is. Have a think and think about how would Jesus play? How would Jesus play with me? Maybe in football, would he pass the ball rather than keeping the ball and scoring all the goals? Would he do slide tackles and maybe injure somebody? I'm not sure he would. If you're playing a board game, would he take turns nicely? Or would he try and cheat so that he could win? You have a little think about that. And while you're thinking about that, I've got a craft that we can make. So, in the temple, they read from scrolls. A bit like this. And I've drawn here a picture of me swimming with Jesus at the beach. So I thought what you could do is you could make a scroll like they would have read in the temple of you doing your favourite sport with Jesus. So you will need 2 kitchen rolls, or you could do it with 2 lollipop sticks or straws or whatever you've got at home. Some greaseproof paper or parchment paper, or you could do it on white A4 paper, and what you do is you draw your picture on like I did on my scroll here. There you go. And then put your rolls of kitchen roll, one on each end like that to make your rolls, and you need to glue those in. So with your Pritt stick or your PVA or whatever glue you've got, or you might be able to sellotape them in if you haven't got any glue, and you'd glue all the sides and then roll it up a bit. and then glue the other one like that, and then roll that up, and then your picture in the middle. Now if you want to, it might be easier to draw your picture on A4 paper and stick it in the middle here, and then when it's dry, roll it up and get a ribbon or a piece of string or a piece of cord or whatever you've got at home, and put your roll of your scroll or your rolls in the middle and tie a bow, and then you have your scroll which has your activity with Jesus in. And next time you play that sport, maybe you could think about, how would Jesus play this sport or play this game in a nice way that would help him to relax from the troubles of life? So maybe, like we said last week, worrying about school or something like that. And maybe you could make sure that you play the game really nice, so it's nice and relaxing for everybody, and just taking time out of the busyness of life, really. Because sometimes life gets really busy and we get a bit overwhelmed. So it's good to take time, maybe play a sport or watch a sport. There's some sport coming back on the telly soon. I think the football's coming soon. So maybe you can find some activities when things are getting a bit too much for you to just chill out with. Walking, running, football, lots of other things. Now I've got another craft for you to do. You could do crafts actually for a chill out, couldn't you? So I've got a jar here with some rice. Now you're going to need a jar or a bottle. You're going to need enough rice to fill it 3/4 of the way full. You're going to need some little bits to put in. So I've got some shells, and I've got some beads. And as this is called a I Spy Jesus jar, I thought I'd put some googly eyes in as well. But whatever you've got, if you've got some feathers or pom-poms or some little toys, you can pop those in. Then you need a little picture of Jesus. You can print one of these off from the church website, or you could draw your own little picture. He's there talking to the leaders of the temple. So what you need to do is fill your jar up 3/4 full. So I'll just put a little bit more in. I'm using risotto rice because I haven't got enough ordinary rice, but any rice will do. That's about 3/4 full. Then I'm going to put my beads and shells, pom-poms, my eyes, whatever you've got, into the jar. Make sure you put your Jesus picture in. And then I'm going to put the lid on. Make sure it's on tight. Parents might want to glue the lid with PVA, or if you've got a hot glue gun, if you could just glue it and put it on so it doesn't explode and everything comes out. This does work with a water bottle or an old Coke bottle or something like that if you haven't got any jars. And then we shake it up, mix everything up, mix it up. I might have put too much rice in here. Give it a good mix. And then what you can do is roll it and look. Can you see, is Jesus in there anywhere? I can see some shells. Oh, I can see my eyes. I spy some eyes. Ah, I think Jesus is coming. And it's a bit like, there it is. There he is. Can I turn him that way? There he is. Can you see Jesus there? Am I going to lose him? Oh, there he is there. Oh, he's just fallen down. There he is there. There's Jesus. So it's just like Mary and Joseph looking for Jesus in the temple. See if you can make one of those jars and see how much fun you can have looking for the different things, the shells, the beads, the pom-poms, whatever you put in there. There's Jesus again. There he is. And look for Jesus and have fun making them. And hopefully you can remember that when things are getting a bit tough, you're getting a bit overwhelmed, or you're getting a bit overexcited about things, to find something just to chill out with. Maybe, like I said, it's a sport or one of those crafts or a game or something like that. It'd be great to hear from you of what you've decided to do. So again, you can text or message me, and it'd be lovely to hear from you. So have a good week, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.